I spent a lot of time trying to make our country less unequal in terms of access to opportunity. And the way I did that was getting internet into townships. The government of South Africa is the only way South Africa has a future, which basically means that you and me have to be part of politics in some way or another, supporting it in some way or another, because without better politics, our country can't get better.
So welcome to the Business Unusual podcast, Alan. Knott-Craig.
If I'm not Craig, who am I?
Well, there's that. Thanks for that sense of humour. And I suppose, I want to just update people, because I think I wasn't aware of where you were at in your journey until a couple of weeks ago. I had a meeting with Nokia, the CEO of the South African division, and he was talking about fibertime. And I hadn't placed the link between fibertime and yourself at the time. And you're the founder of fibertime.
Can you believe it? Yeah.
And he was so excited about what you did. He wasn't talking about Nokia.
No, he just talks about us.
He was talking about you.
It's my favourite supplier.
I mean, I think he's the biggest supporter as well.
We pay him a lot of money.
He's like, I supported them. I said, how's that?
He loves us.
He goes, no, you pay him. I was like, okay, well, how's that supporting? But
he genuinely believes in what we do.
I think so, and I think that he believes in your purpose and your passion. And it seems like, but I mean, for the people who don't really know, there's a couple of them, I'm sure. But tell us about maybe fibertime firstly. What is it doing and where you're at?
Fibertime is a township fibre business. We only do fibre in townships.
Okay.
We go into a township, we put fibre in every single home.
Yeah.
We don't leave any home behind. Every corrugated iron shack, every brick home, along the whole street. We put a fibre router, Nokia router, into the home.
Yeah.
Fibre from the pole, drop it down.
Yeah.
Doesn't cost you a cent. And if you want to use fibre, you go to your local spaza shop, or you can go on your app, or Capitec app or Standard Bank app. You can buy a voucher for R5.
Yeah.
R5 gets you 24 hours of unlimited fibre, 100 megs per second. If you want to use it, you use it. If you don't want to use it, you don't use it. So
Crazy.
It was, I mean, I don't like using the word radical too much, but it is a radical model. I mean, to take, so Kayamandi was our first township. We took 50 million rand and we poured it into the ground with absolutely no guarantee of getting any money back, because you're not...
50 million?
50 million, 50.
Jeez, you must be good at sales.
I'm very good at sales. Only if I believe in it.
Okay.
But I wasn't selling to the customer, I was selling to the banks and the investors. I mean, getting people to give me 50 million rand, I obviously had to put some of my own money in as well. So you put it on the ground, you're not getting any upfront, you're not getting a debit order, there's no guarantee, there's just nothing, you're just praying that someone's going to buy you a voucher.
Yeah.
To me, it seemed like a no-brainer. Who wouldn't want, unlimited 100 megs per second internet
where's
for
the
£5
£5 come from? Was it like the back of the matchbox sort of maths, or was there some accounting?
Lots of study,
skills?
lots of actuarial shit. I just came up with a number.
Okay.
I wanted it to be a £5 coin, and I wanted it to be a day, and I wanted it to be simple. So we said £5 a day for 100 megs per second. And we didn't want to be mediocre internet. It wasn't going to be shitty internet. And a lot of people go into the townships and say you should be grateful for what you get.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 1 meg per second or 10 meg per second. It's better than nothing. And we said no. It's got to be faster internet than you get in the leafy suburb. And it should be a lot cheaper simply because there's more people. So you get an economy of scale because there's so many people living on a hectare in Alexandra rather than a hectare in Bryanston. So you can sweat your capex over more people. So you can charge a lower price and make the same margin.
Yeah. When did you realise that you were going to break even on this big investment from the banks?
I was actually talking to the banks about it about 2.5 years, about a week ago. I'd say the first 2 years, maybe even 2.5 years, I lied a lot.
Yeah. Sold a lot.
I had to lie.
Yeah.
I had to tell everything is fine.
Okay.
And everything was not fine.
Okay.
So I'd say about 2.5 years in, we turned the corner. And for the last 1.5 years, almost 2 years, it's actually been 1.5 years. It's been good. We haven't had to lie. We're a legitimate business that's making a lot of money.
And legitimate meaning what?
Well, for me, a legitimate business is a business that makes more cash than it spends.
Okay.
So we're profitable.
Cash profitable already.
Yeah.
Already,
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. It was 4 years in. We've spent probably, I don't know. I'm not really good on the detail, but we've probably spent close to 2 billion rand. We've connected 390,000 homes, 46
I heard it's
townships.
300, so it's 390 now.
Yeah, it's like every day is another 2,000 homes, so it just keeps going and going and going.
Last time I saw it was like 700, so it's just, And there seemed to be this phrase, I think it was Nico that said, you're democratizing access to the internet for everyone.
You know what we are actually doing that. And it's also a cheesy thing to say. Do you know how Henry Ford started? Well, what Henry Ford said is, cars should be for everyone, not just for the rich. Everyone said that's madness. He said, no one's going to buy it. No, the cars will only be for rich people. And he said, no. But he said the reason only rich people have cars is because they're too expensive. It's not because poor people or middle-class people don't want cars. So he said, if you make the car cheap enough, people will buy it. They said, it's never going to work. He said, and he built the world's biggest car factory on River Rouge, I think it was River Rouge, and he started producing the Model T, but at proper scale. Now you have to sell those things because you've set your price at a certain point. If you don't sell enough of these things, you're never going to make your money back. And guess what?
He did it.
He did, and he became the richest man in the world. And we're doing the same thing for fibre. A lot of people have said and still say that fibre is not for poor people because it's too expensive. And the truth is it is too expensive because R1,000 a month is what you pay for 100 megs per second.
If you go on the old business model.
Well, it's a scale game. If you're thinking there's only going to be 1 million people in South Africa that use fibre, then you have to price it at a certain point. But if you're going to say to yourself there are 100 million people in South Africa and they're all going to use fibre, then you can take another view. You can make it cheap because you can get your money back on scale economics. So we just did that. It's not quite as simple as what I said because there's a lot of complications and there are some variable costs. And we're operating in townships. For those of you who don't know, townships are complicated places. There's effectively no government.
And the risk.
But I personally think we've cracked the code. Pay-as-you-go fibre is the future. Townships are for the volumes, and it's not just in South Africa. It's the same for Manila and Philippines. It's the same for Sao Paulo. It's the same for Dhaka and Bangladesh, everywhere. Most countries in the world are more like South African townships than they are like Switzerland cities. And I think we've figured it out. And now we're just going to make sure we make it work in South Africa.
And figuring it out means, what's the difference to other opportunities?
Well, the traditional fibre company, the business model was different to start with. We go and we sell pay-as-you-go vouchers, we install in every home. The other fibre companies aren't doing that. At the moment, there's no company in South Africa that's selling you a R5 a day, unlimited 500 meg per second internet voucher. It's just, so we don't actually have competition.
When I heard about it, I was like, R5? I've got contracts, so it's like I don't even buy as-you-go, pay-as-you-go. But
and it's the future. Maybe you don't want to pay R5, maybe you want to pay 150 Rand for the month, so you don't have to buy one every day. But you want to pay as you go. Electricity, water is the same thing. You don't want to have a debit order and you have to pay, and even if you're not there, you don't use it and all that stuff. So that's definitely the future. We know that's the future. I think making it super cheap is radical, just walking away from margin that you could have made. But I think the cleverness of what we did there was we widened the market. By making it super cheap, we just made sure there were millions more people that could get it. So you're actually going to end up making more money in a weird way than you would have made if you charged more.
It's Clayton Christensen's, the innovator's dilemma.
The other guys ain't going to do it because they can't walk away from their business.
They can't, and their sales team won't let them. Their
100%.
Customers won't let them.
Shareholders.
They're not going to let them.
How are you going to do that? You need a Steve Jobs to do that. Steve Jobs walked away from the iPod.
Or an Alan, not Craig.
Well, no. I'm not in a business that has existing revenue and margins that we're cannibalizing. So it takes an enormous amount of leadership and courage to take a business that's already making a lot of money on a certain type of product, walk away from that margin and lead into a new product. That's actually one of our advantages. We don't have to do that. We've started a business from scratch with no existing fat margin business. We're not in leafy suburbs. We're only in townships. We only sell a R5 a day product. We only make money, over 300,000 homes. So, we're already a low margin business, isn't it? In many ways, that's what Steve Jobs was most amazing thing about Steve Jobs. He had the kahunas and the sales ability to convince shareholders to walk away from stuff that is extremely profitable already for the future. Like he walked away from the iPod. We're not in that category yet. But we had to start something from scratch with no backing, with no cash flow, and kind of prove a model that no one believed in.
When you say yet, what does that mean?
Yet?
Does that mean yet as in you're going to go into other products, or does it mean yet as that you're going to disrupt yourselves? Because when you mentioned it, that R5, when I was looking at it, I was thinking to myself, okay, so what's the go along here? Because there's a go along, right? So it's not just the internet and great that, obviously people are serviced and whatever, but there's extra opportunities now comes from the township economy, and there's extra opportunities. So let me start thinking about the Afrikaner business billionaires and what they're doing, and one of them's like in education. So is there a £5 school fees? You talked about that, how giving access, is that the opportunity that runs along with this?
There's so much. I mean, there will be digital opportunities so you can deliver movies, shorts. You can do, as you say, online education. You can do gaming. You can introduce, Call of Duty, but pay as you go Call of Duty for the township market.
Yeah.
There's physical infrastructure. So, we're in the home. We're physically in the home. So we're right now installing home alarms. We're going to introduce a private security value add because we're in the home. We've got the fibre. It's in the home. We've got the address. We've got the guy's name. People are worried about safety, so we can introduce them.
I mean, the banks are looking at all the time. They're asking neighbours for validation for parcels and deliveries and these
online delivery. Absolutely. I mean, who knows? If you live in a township, you don't have an address.
Loans. They won't even loan you unless you. I mean, we had the CEO of Optasia here about these micro loans, like R5, and no, it's $5 or $7, and they're giving millions a day.
Yeah. So there's lots of opportunity, but it's one step at a time. I've made those mistakes in the past where I got a little bit ahead of myself. We're just doing one thing at a time. At the moment, we're building infrastructure in townships and we're selling £5 vouchers. That's all we're doing, and it doesn't get more simple, but it's very difficult.
Yeah.
So the nice thing about the business is it's so simple.
Yeah.
The unnice thing about the business is it's very difficult to do that simple thing. Yeah. And I think we've kind of got our operating model right, but it's just radical. There's just so much growth. There's so much demand. There's so many people. I mean, I went on TikTok recently. I've started getting on TikTok. I mean, there's a lot of people on TikTok.
Yeah.
And I get bombarded, thousands of messages from people saying, please bring fibertime to my community. Bring it to Nyanga. Bring it to... They just want it.
Then you know.
You got something. Yeah. Everybody wants it,
Yeah.
We just got to give it to them. Before we get clever about the extra stuff, let's just give the basic thing.
So right now, you're ahead, you're winning the race, the competition's way behind. How are you feeling?
I'm careful to say things like that. We're winning a race that no one's running.
Okay.
So that's quite an interesting thing to say.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that no one's going to come and introduce some product that competes with us in the market. And if they do, then we're definitely going to be in a fight for our lives because there's some giants in our industry. Obviously Vumatel's big, and you've got Vodacom and MTN. You've got these big telecoms giants, and they are trying to tackle this market, and they're not stupid, and they're hardworking, and they've got lots of money. I mean, the big thing is at the end of the day in telecoms is about how much money you have. It's always about that.
Is it always?
Always.
Okay.
All things being equal, whoever has the most money wins.
Okay.
So, but at the moment, all things aren't equal because they don't have the right product.
Okay, so the advantage for entrepreneurs like you is getting in early and disrupting, being brave enough to do things that they won't do.
Well, the real advantage is...
Because entrepreneurs think, I need to charge more to pay for this thing to get the money.
Well, just think about my business. We figured out we needed about 250,000 homes connected at a certain revenue level to break even. And it's 5,000 Rand per home. So that means I needed 1.25 billion Rand just to get into the game. So if you don't start understanding that, you wouldn't get your price point down to 5 Rand. Yeah. But if you don't know how you're going to get that money, you can't do it. Yeah. And telecoms, it's an infrastructure game. So it's really about access to capital. So I do genuinely think, my gift is I can sell the dream. I can raise capital. And marrying that to our business, which is a great story and a very profitable business, to be able to raise more capital than any of our competitors will ultimately give us our biggest advantage.
Which is crazy because most people who fail in this country are scared to talk about it. And there's you failing.
Yeah, thank you. Publicly.
Yeah, well,
I was known as a weapon of mass financial destruction about 12 years ago.
No, but I think that myth, is that people think they can't fail and like all is lost and it's the end of the world because they failed. Meanwhile, you're a weapon of mass destruction, getting capital from failing. You've busted the myth, and so it's like, so what's that secret sauce? So it's great to have this vision. This is the numbers. I need 1.25. I need to get these customers. But now, like you said, how do you sell that vision?
Well, the first thing is being a failure is not cool. And you shouldn't walk around saying, hey, I'm a failure, look at me, I'm a loser. Sometimes Silicon Valley and these guys, they try to get this narrative going, failure is good, failure, be proud of failures. I don't think it's good. It's not fun. It's not something to market on your brand.
But there's an upside to it.
There's going to be lessons. There's going to be lessons. And when I got kicked out of Mxit, I lost my house. I had to start again. I lost my reputation.
There's nothing funny about that.
But I didn't fail due to something illegal. I think you can't get a second chance then. And the second chances you get for that stuff, you end up in bed with the real bad people. I failed because I was incompetent, and I've admitted it to myself. At the time, I felt a bit hard done by.
Well, you didn't know what you didn't know.
I didn't know what I didn't know. And then I failed for incompetence. But then when I raised capital again for my next venture, I start by saying, you know what, I messed up Mxit. And this is what I did wrong. And this is what I'll make sure I'll never do again.
Yeah.
And then the investor, you put yourself in the shoes of the other guy. He's like, well, this youngster, he's still a bit cocky, but he's got energy.
Yeah.
And he's at least learned some lessons that he's not going to learn on my dollar. So the next, lesson he learns is a new lesson. But that first business I started, Heritel, just after that, I did raise a lot of money over time, but it wasn't big money, and it was difficult and stuff because I had to rebuild my reputation. But Heritel turned out to be a great financial success. And after that, I could raise even more money. So, whilst it's not impossible to start again after failing and raising more capital, the real way to raise capital, the real way to be able to access markets is to have a reputation for making people rich.
Yeah. But it's true that, look, I read Warren Buffett, and it's like in his, the best investor in the world, but he's got a formula. And his formula, every annual report, he starts off not talking about successes. He actually starts off talking about his failures and what he learned, and then he goes into his successes. Because there's human psychology linked to that.
Absolutely, and people like that.
And believe it. It's authentic.
It's authentic. They realize that you like. I personally think it's like luck. There's so much luck. I mean,
why is that important? Because I also believe that.
Oh my goodness, dude. It's just too random. There's just so many random
I go to the shopping mall and I'm like, I'm going to get parking at the front. And it's the biggest joke. And then I'll look out and I'll tell everybody when I was lucky. I was just lucky.
Yeah, it's good luck. But, so it goes both ways. If things don't go your way, it's also unlucky.
Yeah.
So you don't take it too badly if things don't go your way, but also you don't let it go to your head when things do go your way. You just realize there's so much randomness in all this. All you can control is your own ethic, your work ethic.
Yeah.
And you just give everything a crack. The mistakes you make in life that are difficult to recover from are choosing the wrong partners. It's almost the only irrecoverable mistake.
I want to talk about that because you talk around getting married early, but you don't even know the partner you got in there. Yeah. Right? And having kids early, and I also did that. Yeah. I got married super early, had kids super early, had the same thing. Yeah. But you don't even know. I mean, if I look back now, I'm like, oh God, that was so random. I mean, I thought I got chosen more than I'm the one that chose. But then you go and you have partnerships in terms of like Mxit. By the way, the people knew you were coming in. They're like, oh, can they get their autograph? Whoa, Mxit. I mean,
can you believe it, eh?
But what's with that? What's with this partners and choosing them? And
well, I mean, so it's a good question. And like marriage, I also realized it's just a crapshoot. I met a girl who I thought was much better than me, and we became friends. And I just married her quickly before she realized she could do better than me.
That's a good idea.
It's like take her off the market, and it just turned out she was the right person. I mean, in retrospect, when you
had a hunch, or
I always knew it. I knew in my heart this was the one I wanted to be.
And people ask, what is it? Is it the values? Is it the...
definitely, there must be part of it, but actually I just think I fell in love with her.
Yeah.
It was like a soulmate.
Like an awesome person?
Yeah, she's a wonderful person.
Yeah.
So it must be something. And I think the younger you are when you do that, the better your odds of finding the right person, because as you get older, you become more successful. And success is like a light that attracts muggies. Muggies and mosquitoes and moths. So if you're driving a Ferrari, the type of girls, as a guy, so if I'm a guy and I'm driving a Ferrari, the types of girls that I'm going to be that are coming to talk to me are maybe not the right types in terms of they're marrying you for your witty personality or values versus your car. So, just before you crack on with life, you get married and then you go together with your life partner through your journey. And in my personal opinion and experience was it was a lot easier to succeed in business having a life partner. It hasn't been perfectly easy, but it's been a lot easier. And it's let me focus more. But then in business, you've got to find partners as well. And I was blessed with an unbelievable partner. My first partner was a guy called Gavin Verigis, still the best shareholder I've ever had in my life. I mean,
does he still invest with you, or
no,
you went your different ways?
Different ways? But such an absolute legend. I mean, you just can't ever. It almost damaged me because I thought this is normal. This is how people treat people.
Success too early is sometimes a curse because we think we're gifted, we've got these skills, but there's some luck in that. How did you meet him?
Yeah, he just phoned me for a cup of coffee. Look, it helped when my dad started Vodacom and ran Vodacom.
Yeah.
I just left Deloitte, so I'd finished my articles, and I was in Joburg. I was looking for a job. Nobody was offering me any jobs.
Yeah.
And he got hold of me, and we had a couple of coffees, and he told me about this business he wanted to start doing cell phone tracking. I wanted to get into telecoms, but I didn't want to work for my dad because he's a bit of a difficult guy to work for. And I
say the same thing about my dad, by the way.
I mean, so I don't want to work.
And I did work for my dad.
And MTN wasn't going to give me a job. So I couldn't get into telecoms. But then suddenly I had this backdoor in through cell phone tracking. It was before GPS. And Gav gave me this opportunity to start this business with him. And I mean, he never diluted me. He kept all his promises. He backed me. He helped me never quit when I wanted to quit. He's just an unbelievable partner.
Yeah.
And so it became a successful business, which spoils you a little bit. But actually, having a great partner as your first partner spoils you a bit as well. Because then your frame of reference for all partners is, everyone's perfect. Everyone's a great person.
Yeah.
It's not always like that. I've been lucky in my current business. I've got absolutely wonderful partners. Yeah. But along the way, I've had partners that haven't looked at the world the way I look at the world. Yeah. And if you're in bed with people that don't look at the world the way you look at the world, you're going to eventually have a little fight.
And what are the key things that you should be looking at the world? What are the eyes? Because, you've obviously done this a couple of times.
Yeah.
So what are the things that you look for now in the way that they're looking at the world? I mean, if they're a Trump supporter, is that a thing?
No. I don't know. In spite of the fact that I've had a few bad partnerships along the way, I would still do it all again. Because even when I think back to it, the reason I was partners with these guys, I had no choice.
Okay.
It's not like I had 10 potential partners and I chose the wrong one. You're just going along, you're going flat out, you're running out of cash.
Here they are.
And someone comes along and says, would you like to kiss? You'd say, yes, let's kiss. What? What's the alternative? You just go out of business or don't do your business.
Yeah.
And you never take a chance, but you never get hurt, but you also never get ahead. So I almost think it's the same with girls, to be honest, like marriage.
Yeah.
You're not sure you married the right person, just marry her. If it doesn't work, divorce, marry again. Keep going until you marry the right person. You know? And business can be sometimes like that as well. You just
or isn't it like you just make it work? I mean, is there that thinking that if you have a positive outlook, like I'm going to make this work, and you put in the effort and time, that you can make it work to a point?
To a point. And just like in marriage.
Okay, so the other person's got to come to it.
But there is sometimes two worldviews.
Yeah.
And those things can never be reconciled, ever.
Yeah.
And business can be like that as well. And it's just the way people were brought up. And it's not a racial thing. It's not a cultural thing. It's not a religion thing. It's just just for some reason people look at the world in a different way.
Yeah.
And
I worked with my dad, and we bought him out because he wanted to run the business a certain way. Yeah. And I had a different view, and there was a clashing of heads, and it was, and I love my dad. I respect him more than anyone, and he's been my mentor. But there came a time where it was like he wanted to do things a certain way, and I want to do it a different way, and there was a clash, and it wasn't serving the business, and we had to make a decision at the end of the day.
And I must say, one of the things that can really lead to a clash is not even values; it's just timelines. So, for instance, somebody who's a bit older than you is thinking a bit short-term, and you're thinking long-term.
That's what he said. He said, there's nothing more quicker than an old man in a hurry, because it's like he needs to get what he needs to do quickly. And I'm like, well, no, I'm not thinking that timeline. I want to be a bit more patient.
Yeah. So it's not a values thing or honesty, dishonesty thing. It's just like a timeline thing. For instance, when you have private equity as a partner, you're dealing with people with a 5 to 10 year time horizon. It's as simple as that. You might have a great business and you want to stay in it for 50 years, but you're going to have to sell, I promise you, because the private equity guys can't sell their stake. They're going to have to sell the whole business, because that's how they get the real value.
Private equity is not that big in South Africa.
It is quite big.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say so. Much bigger than most countries in the world.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, most countries in the world are like, there's 200 countries or so.
Yeah.
And the vast majority are not like Europe and America,
So private equity is big in South Africa.
Very well developed.
And how do people tap into it?
Well, I'll speak out of my own experience, and I'm talking about institutional private equity. You have to build a business that's making money, and then when you're making money, you need to tell people about it. So, how does somebody find you if they don't know where you are?
It's like having a degree and no one knows about your degree.
100%. So, for me nowadays, put your stuff on LinkedIn. Sell the dream a little bit. You'll be amazed how many people will come out of the work to come invest. There's a ton of private equity capital in South Africa looking for a home.
Yeah.
But private equity in South Africa is looking for a home that's generating 30 million rand free cash flow a year already.
Yeah.
So it's that gap between that and the beginning, the startup capital, the venture capital, angel stuff. That's a bit more tricky. But I think it's the same thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
You got to make sure, if you want somebody to back you, you have to make it easy for them to
You
find
have to tell a big lie that is so big that they get excited.
No, well, lie is the wrong word. You have
Dream.
to paint a picture. You have to sell the dream.
I think that we realize with a lot of our customers, there's 3 key areas that entrepreneurs are looking for. Access to funding, struggling. And there's some, which is getting your customer to give you funding, like Musk did with Tesla initially. Access to talent.
Yeah.
And access to networks.
I think the last one is the first one.
So you think that access to networks is the most important?
Well, you can't get money if you don't know people.
Yeah.
So if you're a young black guy in South Africa, you went to a government school, your parents were maybe a domestic worker and a construction worker or something, they don't have money.
Yeah.
They don't know people who've got money. You go to school, you went to school with people, they don't have money. You don't know anybody with money, so now you want an idea. Now think about that versus me, okay?
Yeah.
I have an idea. I want to start a business. I need 5 million rand. My dad's got money. He doesn't give me money, but he's got money and he knows people who've got money. And through that network, ding, 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 I can scramble together 5 million rand. Just that.
I mean,
that's the difference.
Is that not one of the, people talk about education and universities, and is that not one of the biggest opportunities with people to go to university?
Sure.
Is accessing the people
100%.
network?
That's why you mustn't do BCom bloody humanities, You're not going to meet rich people.
Yeah.
Go study something where the rich kids are going, because you're going to have to meet them and their parents, and that's going to be your network for raising money. And then when you're finished, go work at Allen Gray. Because when you're at Allen Gray, you're going to meet other rich people, and they know rich people, and it's your network of people with money that's going to lead to you being able to raise capital for your business. I mean, it's just how it is. I'm not casting judgment on the situation. I'm just explaining my own experience of the whole thing. Is it's who you know.
Yeah.
You couldn't raise money unless you knew people.
Yeah,
and who you know is a function of your postal code where you were born.
Yeah.
It's not your fault. It's not to your credit. It's just random luck. And if you weren't born in a postal code where you're going to know people with money, you're going to have to figure out a way to get into that world.
So that's the key thing. Join a club, go to university.
Move to Stellenbosch.
Oh, they say that, don't they? They say
the money I made in my life, I moved to Stellenbosch. I didn't meet it in Joburg. Obviously, I made it. When I moved to Stellenbosch, man, I'd started meeting billionaires. I just meet them on the street. They're right there having a cup of coffee, and somebody would introduce you, and it's like a billionaire, I mean, how many billionaires do you ever meet in your life or know, The monies I've raised, the businesses I've done since 2010, all happened because I was physically living in Stellenbosch. Not because I was a white guy, not because my dad was a
prices just went up there now. Thanks a lot. Prices just went up there, even more.
But it's interesting, that's geography, I mean, it's the same in America. You want to get super rich, go to America right now.
Yeah.
Anytime you go to America, you go live in America, you're going to make a lot of money. You might not have great values, and your children might grow up being completely consumerist, and they might eat sugar. There are a lot of negatives, but if you want to get rich, you go to America. Because the money's in America, the people with the money in America, you go live in San Francisco, you're going to meet people with money, and you're going to be able to raise capital and start your own business. And I think in South Africa, from Joburg's what the money is, obviously, but funny enough, Stellenbosch. And it's because it's a walking town, you get to meet people.
Close relationships. They say, I read, if there's a problem with the war or Iran or something, the first thing you need to do is not worry about your finances, but get hold of your neighbours and get close to your neighbours and make sure you've got good neighbours. And I'm just thinking, Stellenbosch, you've got good neighbours there. They're going to look after you, and you're going to look after them, and you're going to be okay.
I think so. Look, I'm very grateful I live in Stellenbosch. I married a girl from Stellenbosch when we had our first child. We moved from Joburg down. Such a lucky break, I like the town. It's a nice place, but the truth is, I'm an extremely lucky person. Starting with where I was born, 1977, fucking apartheid South Africa. Sorry for the swear word.
Yeah.
It's apartheid South Africa. I'm a white guy. I'm born in apartheid. I mean, how much more luck can you have? And then my dad starts Vodacom. I mean, how much more luck can you have? And then these other things happen, and I get lucky, and then you actually have to take a step back and say to yourself, well, what are you going to do with it? You can't just. You just got all this good fortune came your way.
Because there is a lot of people who have a lot of luck, and they do fuck all with it.
No, you've got to do something with it.
And so what does doing something with it look like?
Well, it doesn't mean me being a charity or a savior or anything like that. I want to keep making money.
Yeah.
I want to be a capitalist.
Okay.
And I want to do it.
When's enough?
It's not about the money. It's about building stuff,
Like the journey?
Definitely the journey. It's like an adventure, but it's not fun if you're not making money. An adventure is not fun if you're not making money. So it's just my own opinion.
Yeah.
But I want to do it whilst I'm helping people. So I don't want to do sports betting. I can make a lot of money doing sports betting, but I don't think that helps people, so I don't want to do that. So, But what I've do since 2010, I've been trying to figure out how to get people on the internet, townships on the internet. And that's for me very rewarding. So if I can make money whilst getting everybody in South Africa on the internet, not rich people, but people at the bottom of the pyramid.
Why?
Makes the country more, less unequal. I mean, the country's problem is it's very unequal.
Yeah.
And most of society in the world is like that. So inequality in South Africa is stark. It's in our face. We can see it. It's geographically segregated. And it doesn't feel sustainable. And it doesn't feel right. Yeah. And I don't want to tell my kids one day I did nothing about that. So my personal mission in life, I'd like to personally say to myself and my kids one day, I spend a lot of time trying to make our country less unequal in terms of access to opportunity. And the way I did that was getting internet into townships. Oh, and by the way, I got really rich doing that. Nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah.
And like I listened to another podcast, we told the story of a lady that you helped. You sort of gives a story about how the impact of what you did for her.
Radical.
How do stories like that make you feel? I mean,
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we've got 100 stories. I can tell you 100 stories about the impact we're making in people's lives. We are helping people. We're changing their lives. We're giving people the internet. I'm not saying we, not me, but the internet, which we're providing, is, firstly, it's entertaining people. So now you've got something to do. A lot of people are unemployed. And they're just dying of boredom. So it's alcohol, gangs, sex, that's what the alternatives are, right?
Yeah.
But now you're giving them some entertainment. You're giving them something to do. The second thing you're doing is you're giving them a way to get noticed. And I learned this in Mxit. Most people living in townships in South Africa feel like no one can see them. They're anonymous. You're just a number. You're not even a number. You're just totally anonymous. But now the internet gives you a way to get noticed. You can be on TikTok. You can be on Facebook. You could be on Mxit. You could be someone. And you didn't have to be who you were in the real world. You could be someone else.
Like an avatar.
Exactly. You could be a nurse. You could be a Muslim. You could be a man. You could whatever. You could just pick something, And that's what people want. And then, of course, you're also giving them access to an online education. So you don't have to rely on your teacher who can't do maths to teach you maths.
And also you've got a network of people to give you advice.
Role models that are not gangsters.
How's this AI story playing out now?
Radical. I mean, in many ways, I think our backwardness globally in terms of global infrastructure and stuff like that is going to lead to a huge advantage because we're going to leapfrog all the legacy of the West. So now, I mean, what AI means is you don't have to know how to code. You don't even have to be fully literate in order to make an app or a website or online website. So all those millions of people living in South Africa, in the townships that would like to get part of the economy, part of the digital economy, thanks to AI, 6 months' time they'll be able to do it all with voice without even having to type. They just need the internet.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking earlier about your arm, and you're now using voice to talk to AI and helping you do things. I mean, where's the future going, do you think? I mean, there's some people saying that AI, the cost of infrastructure with these data centers, they're going to be so expensive that they're saying it's going to make nations broke because they need to be replenished or upgraded every 5 years. You were saying with fibre, it's every 20 years, so it's a better business model.
I think I was 13. I was watching TV. There was the show about the hole in the ozone layer. They were telling us we were going to be walking around with blue paint on us because we can't go outside. I go to my dad. I said, Dad, what are we doing? Hole in the ozone layer. He just looks at me and says, everything will be okay. If it's not okay, it's not the end. So that. Yeah. I said, okay, Dad, you must be right because Dad, you know everything. Yeah. And guess what? The hole in the ozone layer did go away. We stopped CFCs and the ozone grew back and it all fine. Every single doomsayer in the world ever was proven wrong by technology. So the one argument about data centers, for instance, is the energy requirements.
I think it was that.
Huge energy requirements. Yeah. Have you heard of something called photonic computing?
I've heard of quantum computing, not photonic. That's a new. I like that one.
Yeah, it's quite new. It uses light particles instead of electric. I'm not sure of the engineering, but
that makes
it's
sense.
Light rather than electricity. It's something like 50 to 60% less energy consumptive.
Okay.
Photonic computing. I'd never heard of this. Sure. It's actually what they use for fiber optics as well. So you don't need electricity.
Okay.
I mean, it's not at scale available today.
Yeah.
But because of the urgency of data centers and how much money is going into that, there's a lot of money going into that. 10 years from now, all these data centers that we'll worry they're going to suck all the energy out of the system, we're not going to have enough coal or oil, they're going to be using a fraction of the energy that we used to. And that just doesn't just apply to the data centers, everything that we need. I personally think technology always solves the problem. Always, every problem ever was always solved by technology.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, Well, so what?
Yeah.
I can't change that. I'm not going to stress about that.
Don't we learn from it as well? The things that don't work? Aren't the lessons just as valuable as the successes?
What I worry about as a country is inequality. That's what I worry about. I worry about...
Why? Why inequality?
Morally, it's not right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm living a pretty good life.
Yeah.
And then down the road in Kaimani, the township outside Stellenbosch, I go all the time, and I go to lots of townships in the country. It's not quite as good. And it's not just quality of life. It's like fear of being raped every day.
Okay.
Fear of protection rackets. Fear of being mugged on the way to the taxi every single day.
The fear of life.
It's like so much. It's a true prison.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's wrong. I also feel like it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
Eventually, people just say, I've had enough, and like rise up and chop everyone to little bits. And
so that's your fear? Like
well, I just think
the violence, the inequality.
Like just get tired, and then they nationalize everything and just destroy the whole country. It becomes like a Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
And it worries me. And I can't say I blame people. I mean, if you're living, it's 30 years into the post-apartheid era, and life really hasn't changed for a lot of people. So I'm getting impatient. This thing's not working.
Yeah.
I want to live here. I want to live in South Africa. I'd like my daughters to live here forever.
Yeah.
We can't live in a country with so much inequality.
Yeah.
And that's what worries me, is like these advances that are happening around the world, making the rich richer and leaving people behind.
Yeah.
And we have to somehow create a system in South Africa where we're not leaving everyone even further behind. And I sometimes think, I know the government's a big part of it, so you have to fix the government. I'm not part of the government, but we can set examples from the private sector of ways
do we need to fix the government? Because a lot of people say the corporates have really made South Africa...
It's impossible to private sector the problems. The private sector cannot solve the problems. They can solve parts of the problems.
Yeah.
The government of South Africa is the only way South Africa has a future, which basically means that you and me have to be part of politics in some way or another, supporting it in some way or another, because without better politics, our country can't get better.
Yeah. And also finding ways to help them.
100%. I mean, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I find a little niche where I don't need any government support. I don't need their permissions. I don't need licenses. I don't need their money. But crime, you can't do that without the government. How are you going to solve for crime in the townships? And there's like much more crime in the townships than the leafy suburbs. Yeah. Much more crime. But how do you solve for that? How do you put an organized criminal syndicate in jail without accessing their bank records or their cell phone records? Or you can't. And how do you put them in jail without the government? A prosecutor has to do that. So private sector can't solve for those big problems, and those are core fundamental problems of the country, of any country, for success.
Yeah. Are you getting government approaching you to work with you, help you?
Yeah, no, we deal. I'm always open to it.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of very good people in our government, local, provincial, and national, and in the ANC. It's not just DA people. I mean, sometimes I find the ANC guys are better.
Yeah.
But it's not a critical mass. It's not enough. And I do feel we'd have to have some serious political change before you can effectively work with the national government.
Change being voter change, or do you think change as in culture, way that business works with them?
I think big change is the GNU. That was radical. That was great. That saved our country.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like talking about politics so much, but I feel like there's a missing party,
Okay.
I don't want to vote for anyone. I mean, the DA will probably get the job done, but they don't inspire me. I like this Jordan Hill Lewis, so maybe he turns out to be a nice leader.
Yeah.
ANC definitely aren't making me wildly excited about life. MK, EFF, Action SA, what are these options? The options don't talk to me as a South African.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now that there's a lot of young South Africans, in the townships in particular, that are not interested in politics. They don't feel anybody speaking to them. So I feel there's something there. There's an opportunity there to be mopped up. Yeah. And then perhaps politically, the country can have a coalition that doesn't need the ANC. Or the ANC can be part of it, but doesn't need to lead it. Or maybe the ANC can lead it, but it's got a leader that's honest and energetic, etc., etc. So, there has to be a proper leadership change at the top of our country. I mean, this is my opinion. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm in the townships all the time, man. Yeah. And things aren't going well. And 80% of our country is living in the townships. It's not going well in these townships. The crime is getting worse. It's going to leak into our lives.
Yeah.
You've got to do something about this.
And how do people get access to these townships? Like, would you say go in there and see what's happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you die, well,
It's like, is there a way of doing it? Because we've got a business partner and he's in the townships. He runs a company called Safe to Safe, and where he picks up the safes in the townships. And before that, he sold data time to people in the townships, and he sold that to PEP. And so. And he's like full on. The township economy
That's where the money is.
That's where the money is.
There's more people there. There's more money there. There's more problems there. There's less competition there. Go to the townships. But from my own experience, you can't go to the townships without actually going to the townships. So you can't sit in your nice little Santon office and operate in Alexandria. You have to be brave enough and get your hands dirty, and you've got to go out there and meet people and get to know what's going on. Yeah.
And meet the right people there.
Yeah, and it's not hard. You just ask who's in charge, and it's not the government.
Do we want to talk about Mxit?
Yeah, if you want.
Okay. What do we want to talk about Mxit?
Mxit was a great success story. I didn't start Mxit. I ran it for 1 year. People freaking love me for Mxit. I don't know why. I mean, it's because people loved Mxit. Mxit helped people. Mxit gave people attention. It gave people entertainment. A huge success story. We bought it because it was going a bit downwards. Yeah. That's why we had an opportunity to buy it. And then I messed it up within a year. And then I got kicked out. Messed up strategy, messed up a whole lot of different things. I think if we'd got all those things right, it's not impossible we could have survived. For instance, as a dating platform.
Did you accelerate, did you everybody a favor and accelerate the fact that it wasn't going to succeed?
No, I didn't say it. We just didn't course correct. It was already failing.
Okay.
We caught it falling piano, basically.
Yeah.
But that said, we probably had I could have done better. Strategically, we should have made it a dating app, I think. In retrospect, it was more of a dating platform than it was an instant messaging service.
Yeah.
Positioning it as instant messaging is like, okay, WhatsApp, we're going to take you on head on. Like there's this giant steamroller of capital just rolling over you, Whereas Tinder hadn't really arrived. We were Tinder for the Cape Flats. So I think that would have been probably better, given us more breathing room. We would have got the smartphone app. The smartphone app would have been better. I don't know. Would have been a different story.
And when you were pitching investors, what did you say you learned? You're like,
I actually didn't, at the time when I was a pitching investor, I hadn't reflected enough to think about the strategic mistakes, etc. But 3 big mistakes that I made fundamentally as an entrepreneur with Mxit. One was I spent way too much money. So I said after that I'll be frugal. I'm still not that frugal.
Frugal innovation. Okay, so you say you're still not frugal.
Don't just spend money like there's no tomorrow. Just be careful. Okay. I'm still a big spender, but I mean, there's a big takeaway. Just don't blow money.
Okay.
The second thing is focus. So just pick one thing at a time. That's why this fibertime, for instance, we've got so many opportunities, but I've learned the mistake of chasing all these opportunities. Just say no to everything except for the one thing.
Yeah. How do you do that?
Just say no. Just say no.
Just say no. It's not that easy.
Yeah, it's not easy. You just say no. But over and over and over and over, you just...
Okay, just one thing.
Over and over and over. It's not easy. That's why people fail, because it's not easy saying no. Mm-hmm. And then under-promise. People will not trust you if you don't keep your promises. Ultimately, this whole game is about trust. The whole world, everything in life, everything's about trust. So if you don't keep your promises, people will not trust you. Yeah. The only way to keep your promises is to under-promise. There's no other way. You can't say I'm 100% sure that I'm going to have 50,000 customers in 6 months, so I'm going to promise that.
Yeah.
Because you might hit 49,000. You've broken the promise. Yeah. So you've got to say, I think I'm going to do 50,000. I'm 100% sure I'll do 45,000, so I'll promise 45,000 and then I'll over-deliver at 50,000. But the investor would give me money if I hit 40,000. So you've got to promise more than what people would get in a risk-free environment. But that promise must be an under-promise. Yeah. This is a very important lesson I had, because as when you're a bit salesy, I don't know how salesy you are.
I'm fucking great. I mean, if you want to talk about sales, let's go.
A little bit. You can exaggerate a little bit, but just keep the under-promise. Yeah. So when I say to you, I'd like fibertime, for instance. I'm so tempted to say by this time next year I'll be at 1 million homes. I'm so tempted, and I think we will be. But I tell people 800,000 homes, and 800,000 is still great. But I give myself some wriggle room there. And in Mxit I wasn't doing that. I was making way too many ambitious promises, the high road all the time, and then you start slipping, and people start losing confidence.
So it's a confidence thing as well, belief thing,
trust.
And I know that it was tough when things ended there.
Thanks for the reminder.
Wow, it was in your book, so you're reminding everybody. But I mean, like life, you said, you got your equal parts, lucky and unlucky. And so, there's unlucky things that happen, but maybe not as severe or as dramatic as what you had. And there's obviously some lessons. And one of them was keep your family close, man.
If I hadn't
keep
done
your
that,
family close.
Yeah. Keep your family first, number one. Not just family. This word family, it means everybody.
Yeah.
Your wife or your husband. It's your spouse. Yeah. That's who your partner is. It's not your kids. It's not your parents. It's not your brothers and sisters. Yeah. If you're not tight with your spouse and if something goes awry, it's not going to go well.
Yeah. Why is that?
Because, you can't become friends in 24 hours. You need to be friends. You need to have a friend at home waiting for you.
Yeah. Is it also like AI? Like it gets to know you and then it gets your, like, I don't know, like it's just like that person that understands you, connects, and then they can give you that bit of advice that you're not seeing yourself. Is it that?
Well, look, in the Mxit example, it was just somebody who was there for me. Forget about advice. I got home and
just
she hadn't left the home,
Okay.
We lost everything. We had to start again. I don't think she signed up for that,
And no one does.
Honey, good news, We had to sell our house, rent a cottage and a farm, 3 bedrooms, 3 kids, 2 bathrooms, 8 years. Hey! Now, I'm pretty sure if we hadn't been in a really good place in our relationship, I mean, that's not a
I think
nice pill to
that's
swallow.
true.
And then if she's like not really interested in our relationship, then she'd be like, well, why am I part of this whole movie? I think she would have stuck it out, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's just something to think about. You don't want to, on top of all of that tension and stress and disappointment and ego destruction, on top of that, also feel insecure on the home front. You can't.
Yeah.
It breaks people out. It would have broken me. So I didn't feel insecure on the home front because luckily my wife and I had a good relationship, still have a good relationship,
Yeah.
She actually told me the day that I packed my box at Mxit and took it home and like feeling like a loser, honey, I'm pregnant. So
that
found
day?
out our third child. I found out my wife's pregnant with her that day, just to add a little bit more pressure to the situation,
So that's quite a thing, right?
Yeah.
But then you spent some time reflecting. Do you think it was like therapeutic, or do you think it was like the new you? Is it like, I don't know, I've had some, I had a situation, my wife of 24 years passed away very suddenly, 2 years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry, bro.
Yeah.
I'm married 24 years or so.
Yeah.
She's
and so I know, but I recently got remarried. And I was in Zimbabwe on holiday, a honeymoon.
Wow.
And I also got married very quickly. I knew. And I got introduced by my brother's wife, who introduced us. Also very difficult because, again, I had success. And finding someone afterwards was tough.
So I don't want to think about things like a touch word.
Well, I think there's similarities. It's like I realized when she passed away, part of me also had to move on and also die. And so, you wrote a book to reflect and talk about the new person maybe you wanted to be or how you wanted to be.
Well, I mean, there's a book to read called Necessary Endings. Dr. Henry Cloud wrote it. It's excellent. It's for things like that when you've lost a loved one or when you get kicked out of a job or out of a business or whatever. It's an ending. You've got to put things to bed and start again. Excellent book for anybody who has to go through those types of things. I did read it at the time.
So you read that then?
Yeah, I did read it. It just happened to be on my path. And then I went to the States for a month or 2 with my wife and kids. I actually considered moving to America because Stellenbosch is a small town. You get divorced, you're still brother and sister. So it was a bit embarrassing walking around there. I'd fallen out with the mafia. But then I went to the States. I went there, I'm like, nah, I don't want to be there. Too much competition, not my people, not my problems. And I came back. And that time had given me a bit of time to reflect and kind of calm myself down. I do think, especially after something quite traumatic or hectic, you've got to actually take some time out of the machine, as far away from the noise as you can. I don't think you can actually recalibrate when you're in the machine. You think you can, but you can't. So I had another moment.
8-9 months.
Yeah. And and there's actually no speeding it up. You say to yourself, oh, well, if I just don't work for 3 weeks, I'll be fine. You can't compress it. There's a time period that you have to do it and you have to wait it out. But obviously losing a loved one is much more difficult. It's completely different to just losing your business,
Yeah, I think it is, but I think there's parallels of what you need to do. Because I think people, if I reflect back, you're an accountant and you became an entrepreneur.
Can you believe it, Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty gnarly to study and to do something, then become an entrepreneur.
Not so much.
You don't think so?
No, I think, we've got black economic empowerment in South Africa, which I'm a supporter of, by the way. But what that means is if you're a white dude, you can't go study, BCom marketing, you won't get a job. So a lot of people in South Africa that are not actually auditors or accountants in any way get forced down this path of chartered accounting or engineering or something, but something's hard. It's like hard, and you'll get a job one day.
Yeah.
You don't do that in Switzerland. No one in Switzerland goes and studies accounting or auditing unless they really want to do it. And basically my old man said to me, you're going to study this, otherwise you're on your own. And you're going to pass, otherwise you're on your own. And I was just told by my dad, who'd kind of seen the job market, and he felt the only way I'd ever get a job is be a CA, because he could see I wasn't clever enough to be an engineer. And then I became a CA, and then I couldn't get a job because the banks all could see this guy's not really my kind of cup of tea. He's not a stay in the box kind of guy. But then I had this background. I've got this financial background. I actually understand all of this stuff. It's the stuff you would never study voluntarily. I mean, no one thinks, this weekend, what am I going to read? Let's study auditing,
Yeah.
Because I did it, I understand it, and I could take that domain expertise and put it into entrepreneurship and telecoms. So it paid big dividends, And I've told my daughter, who's an absolutely talented artist, gifted artist, she's studying CA.
Also studying CA?
Yeah, when she's 25, she can be the only CA artist in the country. But until then, it's about building blocks that give you a difference.
Yeah. Did you know you were going to be an entrepreneur?
No.
Okay.
I became an entrepreneur because I couldn't get a job.
Can you see entrepreneurs now? Can you see them?
No.
No? And how do you find that you talked about being the founder of fibertime, so you obviously got good people running the things or with you or whatever.
Yeah.
What have you learned about recruiting good people?
Hit and miss. I don't know.
So true.
I wish I could say, hey, we've got a formula.
I'm like, it's 50-50. It's 50-50, right? I mean, it's like you can have all the skill, the experience, but you coming in here and we've got a different vibe happening. Every environment's different. You don't know how you're going to interact with different people. And
then the biggest schmockelers are great salespeople, So they make a great impression in an interview. You get to know them, But it's, look, a big red flag is an ask kisser. So if I get that little spidey sense that someone's trying to kiss my ass, I'm like, okay, don't go near that person. Yeah. But to be honest, my personal strength in life is not process-driven decisions. Okay. My strength in life is go with my gut. But when it comes to hiring people or partnering with people, it doesn't always work because people can figure out what you're looking for.
But that's a dangerous thing to sell people on this podcast. Like, go with your gut, right? I mean, just go with your gut. Mum, I watched this podcast, and Alan said, go with your gut,
I'm
right?
actually saying don't go with your gut unless you want to make lots of mistakes. You should have a process.
So, so what's your process for going with your gut?
I have backups.
Okay.
I have people I throw stuff over to. So you email me and say, hey, I'd like a job. I say, no problem. You sound like a nice guy. Yeah, great guy. I like this guy. Go talk to Dan. Go talk to Gina. Go talk to Caroline. And I know they've got process. And they're filtering and they're filtering.
Yeah. So your process is other people who are a bit more, who are looking for different things. They're not. So you see the things that you see in yourself and you're passing on to other people.
And I let them go. My wife's a great...
Yeah, well, I was going to say that. I was going to say that, right?
The best thing is, when people know you've got a bit of money, everyone wants a piece of something, We had this guy in Stellenbosch who was selling cows. Well, not cows. He was selling shares in a business that farmed cows. So you could give him 100,000 rand. He'd fatten his cow and then sell the cow for 200,000 rand and give you 50,000 rand back. And so he comes to pitch me. We met at some picnic or something, and then afterwards he's like, can I meet you? And he comes for a coffee. And he says, and I'm like, this sounds like a great idea. Yeah. But why don't you pitch it to my wife? So I don't have to look like a bad guy. Good luck getting my wife across the line. And he didn't have the guts to go pitch it. And it turns out 2 years later it was a Ponzi scheme. And he left the country and now lives in China or somewhere where we can't extradite him. So it's just having a filter, just having another person behind you actually helps in terms of unleashing me to be who I really am,
Yeah, it's that belief system in somebody else. Where's tech going? I mean, what's on the horizon?
I've got a few friends in Silicon Valley and in Boston. Photonic computing, for instance, came from a guy that I saw the other day. I hadn't heard of that in South Africa before, so that's interesting. There's so much money going into infrastructure, data center infrastructure, which is effectively content, right? AI is also content. Yeah. And that is going to all look for a market. There's about 8 billion people living in the world, and about 2 billion of them guaranteed don't have fiber internet. Yeah. They're like 80% of South Africa. So I'm not thinking about where it's going. I'm trying to think of how do I give access to those people? How do you provide affordable, super fast internet for that cohort? Yeah. Not just for them, but also for the content providers. So that I can one day walk around the world and say, NVIDIA, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, how'd you like to get access to another 2 billion people? Yeah. Give me something that I can give to them and I can make the internet cheaper. That's what I think my own kind of takeaway from where the world of technology is going and all that investment is going. There's going to be a huge market for my market.
So in South Africa, your market is what?
Townships.
How many people?
The South African census says there's 62 million people in South Africa. And 6 months later, they did it, or 6 or a year later, they did another test it, and they found it is at least 30% understated. They said, the government, the same people that did the census says 30% understated. Every township we go into, we count the number of people. We have to. We build, we put fibre in every home. So you've got to put fibre in the home, you've got to build infrastructure, you've got to plan. There hasn't been any example of a township in South Africa that we've operated in, and we're in 46 townships live with another 50 or so in planning. There hasn't been a single township where if the government said 10,000 homes, there wasn't 20,000 homes. So it's double, at least.
So the population of South Africa is what?
100 million, I think.
Sure.
We've tried to communicate this to the stats. Say Department of Home Affairs are kind of aligned with us on this because they say there are a lot more people that come to the Home Affairs than what, according to the census.
So I drove past it yesterday. The queue is around the corner.
Exactly. And they said 62 million people officially. Let's just say it's 100 million, for argument's sake.
Yeah.
But maybe 90 million, 100 million. It could be 120 million.
Yeah.
Who knows, okay? 100 million. So let's just say there's 38 million people living in South Africa that we didn't know existed, right?
Yeah.
They're not immigrants.
They're not.
They're not foreigners.
This is not foreigners.
There's a big chunk of them that's foreigners, but most of them are undocumented South Africans. That's what the Department of Home Affairs is telling me. Undocumented South Africans. You were born, your mom didn't get a birth certificate, she didn't register you with the government, you can go to school in South Africa without any of that stuff, But it's when you turn 16 and you want your ID, or when you turn 18 you want your driver's license. Now you need to deal with the government. So they come to the Home Affairs and say, I need an ID. It's like, well, where's your birth certificate? I don't have one. But it's not somebody from Zimbabwe. It's a South African who's born and spent their whole life in South Africa. The Department of Home Affairs have to regularize. So what that actually means is we've got a massive country. We've got a massive economic opportunity. And that opportunity is sitting in the townships.
Sure. It's quite crazy. And then I was going to ask, what about Africa? Because if that's what we've got at home.
Yeah. Well, are they getting it accurate? I don't know.
And what's the thing that's going to make you help all those people? So is it more funding from investors? Is it getting a listing? Is it just natural? Is it just you're just going to carry on in the sort of process you're going, or are you going to start stepping it up?
No, my life motto, the Wi-Fi password for our offices is faster, faster, faster.
Faster.
That's my life motto. So we want to go as fast as we humanly can. And it's not just to make money.
Yeah.
Every day in South Africa, there's kids that don't have a decent internet connection.
Yeah.
And they don't have a great school, and they don't have books. And it's cuck. It's not right. Yeah. And every day it takes for us to get there is one less day for that kid to see an opportunity that they didn't realize existed. Like they're still in the prison, right?
Yeah.
So, and the same goes for Harare and Kinshasa and Nairobi and Dar es Salaam and blah, 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 and also other countries. I mean, I was in Latin America last year. Mexico City is just like South Africa.
Yeah, I heard that.
Mexico's
very similar.
Very similar.
Yeah.
So, I mean, lots of opportunities. I think some of my shareholders really get irritated when I say this, but I want to list. And I don't know why I want to list, but I just want to do it. And we're going to aim for next year. If we don't, then we don't. Maybe the year afterwards, maybe we don't. The reason I spelled fibertime with an ER, not an RE, so it's a US spelling, not the Commonwealth spelling, because I want to be on the NASDAQ one day, and I want Americans to be able to spell our company name.
Wow.
And the reason I want to be on the NASDAQ is because you get more access to capital than anywhere else. So that's where all the money in the world
is. Well,
is.
you get real money, as opposed to getting a rands, you get dollars, and then you're getting access to lots and lots of dollars. I wouldn't mind finish off with like a Musk. I know that you, like me, like the guy's freaking
he's a legend.
Ridiculous. He puts these massive targets. He confuses the shit out of everybody. And then you're like, who is this guy? Like, is he a bullshitter or the best salesman in the world?
No, he's the real deal.
I even run meetings now. I start researching how he runs his meetings, and I start researching how he's doing it. I mean, what are you getting from him?
I have an enormous amount of respect for him. I'm glad he doesn't compete with me. Luckily, Starlink doesn't compete with us.
Imagine.
But I don't want to.
He wants to compete with everybody, though, I think. But
I don't want to be him.
Yeah.
I'm on the constant lookout for role models. I can't be a Steve Jobs, for instance. I love the guy, but he was a genius.
Yeah.
Warren Buffett is a genius. He can remember all the numbers he read since he was age 6.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I've looked at role models around the world. Funny enough, the South African role model I'd put as, the person that he's managed to, made a lot of money. That's the first thing. He stayed in the same house. So he didn't change his lifestyle. Still married to the same lady. He's got kids that are pretty well adjusted, nice kids. He built a big business. It helps a lot of people. Michiel Leroux, the guy who started Capitec. So that for me is a nice role model. That's like a solid human being.
And he's helping poor people get access to funding.
Exactly.
He's
And
doing good shit.
He's just helping people and making money and not changing his lifestyle or getting and he makes a big difference behind the scenes in South Africa. So, he's a great role model for me. But I don't look at Elon Musk thinking I want to be Elon Musk.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone does. Yeah, I think, the way he works, and I think it's a bit out of whack.
He's a crazy dude. But people that work for him, I've read blogs from people that work for him, they say he burns them out and then they leave and then life is just never the same again and they go back. So, some people, once you've tasted that, you can't go back,
You partnered with Nokia and you've partnered with a whole lot of other people. What makes a good partnership? I mean, obviously your marriage is a good example, but what do you think makes a good partnership?
I think the most important thing is honesty, truth. Look, I think there's some other things, being respectful.
Yeah.
I like the Finns. So Nokia is a Finnish company. They are very similar to South Africans. They have the English kind of diplomacy, so they're not as rude as the Dutch. The Dutch and sometimes the Germans can be a little bit too blunt.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. That makes me feel uncomfortable. So they have a little bit of a polish, but they're straight. So sometimes the English never tell you what they really want.
Well, the words mean something different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas what's nice about the Dutch and the Germans, they tell you what they want. It is doing it in such a makes you like, dude, just take it easy.
Yeah.
So the Finns are a bit like South Africans in that sense. They're straight talkers, but they're polite. So it's a nice manner. They have. I like dealing. I want to be respectful to other people, and I like being dealt with in the same way. And I think telling the truth. I mean, there are a lot of countries that you just can't operate with the people from those countries because of the fact they don't culturally tell the truth.
So culture's big, eh?
Culture's a big thing, and culture leads to a lot of these things, like this kind of trust quotient, etc. But truth for everything. That's what I want from my president. That's what I want from my staff. It's what I want from my shareholders.
We all do, right? Just tell us the truth, then we can do something about the bloody thing. But if we don't know what the truth is, what are we actually dealing with? We're kind of being fibbed to. And
you've got to be straight. You've got to be a straight shooter.
I think so. I think some people
and people are desperate for it,
Yeah.
You look around South Africa, people just want to be told what's going on. Yeah. It's like, in my industry, my game, do you know why our customers love us? Because we tell them the truth. They're so used to being lied to.
So in terms of what, though? What do you do to tell the truth?
What they're paying for.
Okay, so $5,000, you're getting
this. 20, and you actually get 24 hours, and it's unlimited.
So it's like, this is the deal, this is the thing.
No T's and C's. We actually went out of our way not to have T's and C's. We said we're not a company that has T's and C's. You don't have to read it, because it's straight. It's a straight, honest product. Telecoms is not straight. Capitec, what did they do? They just gave you a straight product.
Oh, simple fee.
23 years ago, they had no customers. Now they're bigger than any bank in South Africa.
23 million. I did a thing with Harry Fareed. It's
all
crazy.
they did, they gave it to you straight. So I think in South Africa, in my business, my industry, the way it's evolved over time, nowadays all you got to do to be different is to be honest,
But that Afrikaans way is a bit, they're straight, right?
I don't know if it's an Afrikaans thing. I think it's
South African.
It's just a common sense thing.
A human.
It's just do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Sometimes people forget that.
It was freaking great to spend the time with you, Alan.
Thanks, Ralf.
It was really awesome. Thanks so much. And we're wishing you obviously the best of luck. Or should I say, we're hoping we can invest in fibertime.
Yeah, you'll have to come in the JSE for it.
Thank you.
Thank you.